Good morning, everyone. We are back again. We're going to do a little tutorial on how we shave fork legs. These particular fork legs are going to be for our giveaway bike. If you don't know what I'm talking about as far as that goes, check out this video here. I'll put a card in the corner. You can get all the details on that. These forks are for a Shadow 600, but this process pretty much applies to most forks. We're going to go ahead and lop the fender mounts off, rough on the bandsaw, then head on over to the lathe and smooth out the legs. This particular bike is going to keep the front brake, so the brake side lower is a little trickier. Work around the brake tabs, but we can still get it smoothed out and looking pretty good. All right, we're going to get started shaving these forks. First thing we're going to do is lop off the big chunks of fender mount with the bandsaw. You don't have to do this, but it just makes for a quicker job once you move over to the lathe. This is the brake side fork. We are going to keep the front brakes on this particular build, so we're not going to cut those off, but you could cut those off if you were going for a spool wheel on the front. So I'm just going to lop the fender mounts off like we did on the other side. We got all those fender mounts lopped off. We're going to head on over to the lathe and go through the next step. All right. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and get these fork legs loaded into the lathe. I like to grab the inside if your chuck will fit inside. That way you can machine this outside all the way up to the chuck. So put that in a little loose. Get this drill chuck out of here. And we're going to switch it out to our live center, which goes into our tailstock, and it's got a bearing. So it'll hold this nice and true and allow it to spin. So just give a little bit of pressure on that, lock it all in, and come back and really tighten our chuck. To get started, we're just going to focus on the area where the old fender mounts used to be. Once we get that down to where it's pretty round, we'll step back and cut the full length of the tube, which you'll be really amazed how out of round these are from the factory. So right now we're machining the interrupted cut in the area where we cut the old fender mounts off. Once we get that relatively smooth, we'll move on to cutting the full length of the fork leg. So now that we're doing that, we're just going to take numerous passes. We're going to end up probably taking about 80 to 90 thousandths off of this outside diameter of this leg to get it nice and round. Once we got the outside diameter smooth, we're going to go ahead and turn our tooling, cut the step off that we made up near the taper top, which has a larger diameter. This area that holds your fork seal. So we just go in there and clean that up, give it a little bevel so it's a nice smooth transition. Something else I decided to do as I was machining these, I noticed the bottom of the fork leg was really square and just didn't have a nice look. So went ahead and installed our 1/2 inch round over bit, and we're going to go ahead and just cut a little 1/2 inch radius onto the bottom of the fork leg. Just another little custom touch. No one will probably ever notice unless you're a shadow expert, but it's a really clean look and I think it adds a nice custom touch. This fork leg happened to have a drain screw in it, so I went ahead and pulled that out, and once we get it all turned down to size, I'll get a little headless set screw to replace the drain screw, just to keep it flush and give it a little bit of a smoother look. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting off the big chunks of fender mount that remain, and then go ahead and start getting these tubes smoothed out. It'll be 3 sections. We'll smooth the above the brake mount, below the brake mount, and the little section in between. This was one of the worst fork legs I've ever done like this. For some reason, I had to take about 140 thousandths off the outside diameter to get it round. Just a really big offset from the inside of the fork to the outside of the fork. It was a lot thicker on the outside for some reason. Just poor quality casting. But we got it smoothed out, so just plugged away at it. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching along. We got our 2 fork tube blowers shaved. At this point, you would normally start sanding them to polish, but I'm not sure if we're going to polish them or go brush finish on this particular build, so we're going to hold off on that for now. Appreciate everybody watching. Don't forget to subscribe and share. If you have any questions about this process, sound off in the comments. If you want to get your fork tube blowers shaved, I'm going to put a link down in the description below to our website, gaddysgarage.com, where we offer this as a service. You send us your lowers, we'll shave them, ship them right back to you. Thanks for watching, and we hope to see you again at Gaddy's Garage.